Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drop Frames. I didn't know if I was recording yet, so I was still looking at... What? Hold on. Talk again, Co?
Hello!
Oh, you did that voice, and I thought that was your real voice? And I thought your fucking mic was messed up.
That's not. Oh my god.
Oh, Zeke, we didn't get your green screen. We didn't
Yeah,
get your
you're
green
breaking
screen.
everyone's immersion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we fixed it, though. We fixed it.
Oh, good.
I had to pull in a dummy account on Zoom because you called me saying you're going to be a little bit late, and then you were actually early, so it didn't matter. But that's why that happened. So, yeah. Anyways, hello, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good week. We got a new guest who's never been on the show before. He has been on Fandom before, so we've seen him around these parts.
Maybe.
Maybe. But for those that don't know who you are, bro, man, why don't you give a little bit of an introduction?
Hi, I'm Professor Broman. What else? I've been streaming on Twitch for 3 years and 2 months, and I started streaming as a speedrunner. And then when Destiny came out, I started playing that pretty much full time.
What was the games that you... I didn't know you were a speedrunner.
Yeah, that's how I started my channel. The first, just crossed over the threshold of over half of my time on Twitch being spent outside of speedrunning. So I used to speedrun Borderlands 2 was my primary game,
Oh,
but then
shit.
also
You were on
I did-
AGDQ 2014. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And then also I did Surgeon Simulator, Skyrim, South Park, Stick of Truth, Final Fantasy VI, Dishonored.
Can we just? Can I just say like Surgeon Simulator is like the odd duck of that whole entire group?
I did it because I knew if I played that game in particular, it would do really well at AGDQ. So I just picked it in particular because it was a charity game. Like I was like, this will be great. People will be like, oh yeah, I'd love to see him do this blindfolded and whatever.
Oh, that's actually a very good point.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
AGDQ
had-
2014.
You found the video. Yeah, there's me and then Missy, and we did it 2 players, 1 controller. Yeah. Or yeah, keyboard and mouse. That was pretty great.
There you go. What were we gonna say, Zeke? Or are you intrigued now
that's
by watching?
Decidedly, like
That's when I used to have hair, too.
One of my favorite experiences, or one of the most funny experiences playing that with my dad. I love. There's a special place in my heart for fucking Surgeon Simulator.
I've never played Surgeon Simulator.
It's hilarious and silly, and it's a good 2 hours.
I'm very familiar with what it is. I didn't know that you could speed run this,
Well, yeah, I mean, you can speedrun anything. You just got to do it fast.
but I didn't know there was I didn't know this game could be beaten or that there was an end. Is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was pretty much just like all surgeries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was like a gaming treadmill for this. So that's interesting. Oh yeah, Zeke, I'll get you. Zeke, I got you here. There you go. Back into the void to go, Zeke. Well, cool. I didn't know that you were a speedrunner at all. That's awesome. What's your PR for Skyrim?
Well, oh man, I was
PB.
always awful at Skyrim. I think I got like an hour 6, which is just a terrible time. I think
What's the world record for that? Do you
at
remember?
this point? I think the record's in the 40s now. I haven't really been keeping up.
Is
with
that
it.
is the speedrunning for Skyrim basically just like breaking the game?
The speedrun for the Skyrim is 6 minutes in, you're halfway through the game because you go pick up a quest that is like right before the end of the game.
Oh.
So you just like run through a wall and grab it.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, go kill Alduin, and yay! Sorry, spoilers, I guess.
Interesting.
You haven't played Skyrim.
If you haven't played Skyrim,
That was my Elder Scrolls franchise playthrough.
No, I'm done.
you
Sorry,
should probably play PR, man. Personal record. That's the lingo in the speedrunning
PR. No,
community.
PR is correct. Yeah, it's been a while. Everyone's like, well, you didn't even ask him a question.
Yeah, Jesus. Come on, chat.
You made that up.
No, I didn't.
Made it up.
Yeah, you did. You made that up to cover for your dumbness.
No, PR is used in the speedrunning community.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, PR.
Is it?
PR, personal record, or
Always
PB. PB. Yeah,
Personal best. I've heard that as well.
Mhm.
I went with PR though, and it works
That's
out.
fine.
Kinda.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right,
See,
all right.
the speedrunner says it checks out.
Listen,
Trihex just
I'm-
texted me and he said you're good, so I'm good.
I
All right.
apologize.
Fuck off
I'm
me.
Sorry. God. Jeez.
I'm just gonna throw you in chat with the rest of them, Zeke. We'll just fill the spot.
That's how I feel anyway. I feel like I represent the chat, just going like, Maybe this is a dumb question, but
There you go.
That's great.
It's all good. You're the everyman. That's why you're here. It's all good.
That's it. That's all. That's
So,
thank you.
yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to respond to that either. When did Destiny come around? Is it just at launch? You're like, I should probably play this Destiny thing.
I started playing Destiny in the beta, and I really liked it. But I'd always made this personal promise to myself to never play any game that was like an MMO because I lose myself in those games.
Yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's I've forgotten. Oh, it's Wednesday. When did I go to sleep last time? Like, it's really bad. So I started playing the beta, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I started playing it on launch with King Gathalion and T-Rex and a few other people. And our goal was
you
to
knew
try
them
and-
prior to that, right? You didn't meet them in Destiny.
yeah. T-Rex is my brother, and a lot of the other folks that I met through the Borderlands community. And we heard there was going to be a raid in it, and we were all kind of veteran MMO players. And we were like, let's try and get world first in the raid. And we didn't, but we got world 7th. And in that process, I accidentally an MMO. So then I started streaming it all the time because I couldn't stop.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it turned into a big thing.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that it went in a positive direction. It could have easily gone in a negative direction, and I would have been like, well, bye Twitch. Like,
True.
But no, Destiny has been incredible, and getting a chance to work with all of the broadcasters in that community and King Gathalion Corey, who's my best friend, and kind of build that into a really positive and strong place on Twitch for folks who love that game it's been one of the most amazing journeys of my entire life. It's been fantastic.
I think
I gotta tell you, like, as far as communities go, there's a lot of them that get a bad rap as far as, like name a game that has like a huge community, and they'll have like some bad apples and like make you feel like shit if you just fire it up for the first time. I never felt that way with Destiny. Like, I never felt like
It's good.
it's very true.
No, I'm just saying, like, you guys have cultivated an awesome community, and I'm proud of you. Just want you to know I'm proud.
Oh man.
That is very true. I would say is except for, of course, a couple people in chat that just so happens when you stream Destiny that might not even be from the proper Destiny community. Like, even the chat is like super supportive. Like back when
Everyone likes to help.
Yeah, back when I played Destiny for my stint when everyone got back into it for the whatever that expansion was called. Yeah. I had the same experience. Not even the stream, or not just the streamers, but even like the chat was just kind of like pretty helpful about everything. So it was cool.
Through my journey on Twitch, for a while I played Monster Hunter. I streamed that, which was really fun. But I noticed something about the Monster Hunter community when I started playing the game. It was everyone in the Monster Hunter community wanted to help you. Like, they'd log in and be like, oh, hey, are you fighting this guy? Make sure you watch out for this. And I was like, what the hell? Because I just got done playing, I think, like Dark Souls 2, where everyone is just, everyone in Dark Souls really wants you to be awesome at it. And if you're not,
you to be awesome at
expects you to be
maybe
awesome.
expects you to be awesome is probably a better word.
We're on JP's channel. You can say they're twat waffles. It's
People
true,
are very mean to you if you're not good. And so, like, Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, they have a lot in common. Like, they're very, like, the skill cap for being able to play it and learning how to use different weapons is kind of high.
Yeah.
So when you start off, you're like, "Ah!" and you're just getting killed by everything. But all the folks in the Monster Hunter community were so nice and supportive and helpful, and they would, if you asked a question, you'd get a nice answer. So when I started streaming Destiny, and it was this brand new game on Twitch and everywhere, and they really tried to approach, a shooter MMO from so it was coming from a really new place. And so when I was trying to build my channel, I wanted to emulate that attitude, at least from myself, to kind of always be kind and always give the right answers, and try and foster a community that did that. So that whole idea came directly from the Monster Hunter folks, which is something I've not really shared too much.
Do you think it has something to do with like the feeling of the game? Like, Dark Souls feels like darker, like more adult, like in a more adult feeling game than like Monster Hunter does.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that, the aesthetic of a game can drive its community, certainly. So Dark Souls is dark and aggressive, and you might say that about the community sometimes.
It's probably true. Random tangent, because I don't know. We might cover this in news. There's a rumor going around that Dark Souls 3 is going to be locked at 30 FPS.
Don't you dare. No. The PC version?
I don't know. No one knows.
Console version, I totally see that.
It came from
saves them an unbelievable amount of processing power on consoles. So I believe that. The PC version.
Where let me pull this up. It came from, there was a Bandai Namco email where it came from. It was a Bandai Namco rep
Secrets.
that said, thank you for contacting blah blah blah. Unfortunately, the plan is to keep the frame rate locked at 30 FPS, but nothing is yet confirmed from that from what I am aware of. Please keep updated through the main website. I apologize for not being much of a help. Best.
Hold on a second. Rep for Bandai said, worst case scenario, but not confirmed. I rep this company. That's the worst rep ever.
Yeah, I don't know what this person's this person is from the Bandai Namco Entertainment Online store team.
That man should be fired.
Oh man.
I would assume this person is getting a lot of heat right now at work because it's spun up on NeoGAF, it's spun up on Reddit, and now we're talking about it on the show. So that'll be interesting to see if that ships later this month at 30 FPS, and it's going to be on consoles first. So
someone get the DS fix guy on the phone.
Immediately, right?
Immediately. He needs to know this.
Yeah, I mean
I need a day one unlocker.
He can't fix the PS4 version. That's for sure.
What's the difference between the in days between the console release and the PC release?
Oh man,
24th and 12th. It's 3 weeks.
Okay, so
Yeah.
PS4, 3 weeks, and then, or is Xbox One getting released? Is there going to be an Xbox One?
I mean, what you're playing on the 24th is the Japanese release. So,
but it's PS4 only in Japan, right?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think it's just Japanese release. So there might, I wonder if there's even going to be like if does the PC version come out in Japan as well on the 24th? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just know that everyone's playing the PS4 version because they can get the PS4 version because of the PSN store being linked to Japan and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So wait, real quick, just while we're on this real fast, let's go around real quick. Who's waiting?
I haven't decided yet.
What do you think?
like to play it on
early Japanese PS4 version or 3 week later PC English version?
I'll probably be waiting.
You said you're gonna wait, bro?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Z?
I'm definitely waiting. I will not sit there and try and muddle through the Japanese and try and translate it and stuff. That's part of the excitement for me. No one would ever watch me play a game for skill or anything like that. That's one thing on my mind. And the second thing on my mind is I play these games for not only the gameplay, but for the fucking lore, which I love. So, so when I pick up an item, I want to read its history and stuff, because they do that for every single thing you pick up. They have a nice little paragraph this old dead king, he was doing this and these guys fought him and he dropped it. Yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And you picture it in your head and shit.
What about you, Ko? Have you made the decision? You're waiting? I remember that's what you
I
were.
have officially announced that I'm waiting.
Okay.
I am going to be, we just got done with 1 and 2 and we did it meticulously, went to every corner of every place. I feel like if I were to do the Japanese version that it wouldn't line up. You know what I mean? Just like Zeke said, reading just single item descriptions in Dark Souls series can open up entire connections that you would miss normally. And then when you make the connection, you're just like, that's awesome.
That's true.
And I don't want to miss any of that.
I'm still on the fence. I don't know. And a lot of that comes from seeing the Division launch yesterday, and just how, for pretty much anyone under, I mean, I guess, Ko, what was your, I think I saw you at 7K viewership, right, for the Division yesterday morning? Is that about what you were at?
I maxed out around 10.
Okay. What was the new, do you have any idea what the new viewer levels were for that, or follower count or anything like that?
The new follower count is pretty high in Division. Viewers it's always a little bit hard to tell on games that are super saturated.
It is very saturated. Yeah.
Division very much classifies as super saturated right now.
Yeah.
I can tell you though that Division is going to be a good place for new streamers after about a week.
I would totally agree.
Yeah. And but outside of that, the big issue right now with Division, and one of the reasons why and I guess we can just go into this conversation.
Sure.
I had planned initially to do 3 full days of Division. I announced midway through my stream this morning that I was leaving it and shelving it for now.
Yeah.
A day and a half early.
Any particular reason why you felt like shelving it, or?
A lot of reasons that we can kind of get into. Some were gameplay related. Many, though, to be honest, is I was very taken aback by the Division community on Twitch, and not necessarily the Division community as a whole, but more of its clashing with other communities. And right now, with all what was that?
No, continue.
With all these big streamers kind of bringing their communities to Division, seeing the kind of everything slam into each other, and seeing some of it almost feels like Xbox PS4 people going at it, where you just want to be like, guys, everyone do your own thing. It's a game. Let's have fun playing it. But some people are diehard that it sucks, and some people are diehard that it's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And man, I was dealing with that, especially yesterday. I streamed it all morning. It seriously could have been the reason that I had to stop, because I got such a migraine. Like it was really
in terms of what? Just saying like, this game sucks. No, this game's actually good. No,
this game's overhyped. This game's terrible. This game's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, it's not suck. You just need to play it more.
I kind of
don't know what the hell you're talking about, man.
I kind of feel like that's like the new game community.
But see, that's the thing. It's not necessarily like take Stardew Valley. When I played that game the first time, dude, I mean, yeah, there was the original.
That's because everyone that plays Stardew Valley is actually high as fuck and just zoning out for 12 hours.
Including the people streaming.
Exactly.
Again,
hey, man, I'm going to go plant this. I'm going to plant this apple tree, man. It's going to grow into make a lot of money.
Have you seen my farm, JP?
I have not seen it recently.
That's right. You haven't. But anyway,
I don't know what that means.
The thing with Division, and kind of going in more to why I stopped streaming it, I was really jazzed about it from the looter shooter perspective. Definitely. I really like looter shooters. I like games that have decent gameplay loops, so they're fun to play, but then they have this really extensive built back end with a whole bunch of different loot and different ways to customize it and all these carrots to go after and reach and stuff like that. But today I was playing a mission in the Division, and it just kind of hit me out of nowhere, where I realized that every single mission I had played in the Division to that point, and every mission that I was going to play moving forward, involved running into a room, finding cover, getting into cover, killing 3 to 6 waves of enemies, and then walking to the next room and doing the same thing.
That's one of the worst things when you discover that early on in a game.
And here's the thing, though. A lot of games, take Borderlands, for existence. Borderlands is somewhat like that. Go to this area, kill all the enemies. Go to that area, kill all the enemies. But Borderlands has the humor. It has the soul. It has the boss battles. It has the different enemy types that you have to kill in different ways, and all this stuff that makes it different. But you remember when we talked about Division before, JP, and we were talking about how we were kind of concerned that every enemy was the same?
Yes.
I could not shake that feeling. I felt like every mission I did was exactly the same.
I feel 100% in agreement with that, man. Like I'm exactly like you. That hit me yesterday. That we found the gameplay loop around level 10.
Yeah.
And like a game, there are games that like, I think the best games are the games where you don't recognize that you're in the gameplay loop, that you've been sucked into what this game is. And I think like a perfect example of that is like World of Warcraft for me. I never realized that I was just like doing the same thing over and over again for like 4,000 plus hours, right? Until like the very end where I was just like, man, why the fuck am I playing this game? I've like wasted my life now for like 4 years. I gotta move on.
But now and that kind of thing's okay if there's enough other stuff in the game to kind of, again, it all comes back, like we talked about in other episodes, all comes back to investment. If you're invested in the game. But the more I played it, the more I realized that I was not going to, the gameplay wasn't varied and interesting enough for me personally to get invested in the looter side. And if you're not invested in the looter side of a looter shooter, it's like half the game that you're not interested in, because and then the only thing that does kind of spin it on its head, and I want to give Division its fairness here, is the Dark Zone and the PvP. That stuff's really cool. I liked it in beta, and I didn't quite get to it in live. So there's a lot of people saying, well, Cohh, you didn't get to the dark zone, so that's probably a lot. But again, the PvE, one of the big things I was excited for in the Division was getting my base built up and seeing what the virus was and exploring the story and all this stuff. And when you're just completely uninvested in an entire side of the game, it doesn't matter how good the PvP is. If you, again, if you're not invested in the looter part of it, like it doesn't matter how much good loot you get in the PvP zone. It's like, it's a little. So again, I decided this morning Division is just, it's not for me. There's some people in my community that still love it. There's in fact a little subsect of my community that's now playing Division together, and they're super hyped for the 1 year roadmap. And I've been sending people their way, and I'm like, more power to you. I love that you love it, but it's just like that investment wasn't there for me.
Did you play with other people?
I played with a lot of my subs, and I did play with people back in beta. So I've experienced it with friends, I've experienced with subs, and I've played solo. But just to be fair, just like any game, there's no question it's a lot more fun with friends, especially friends that when you're talking to, and you no question it's a lot more fun.
Confirmed. Subs are not Cohh's friends.
Not friends. No, I will say.
Zeke's been wanting to bait you for like 2 weeks with that. He's like, got him. Fucking fun.
You heard it. He said it.
I think that for me, like,
don't listen to him, subs. I love you.
I've always been very interested in end game. So like, if I don't feel invested in a game right up front, I don't really give a lot of weight to how I feel. And I could definitely say that like I had a lot of concerns. Like I've got, how many hours do I put in right now? Like 30. It took me 22 hours to get to end game. And now that I've had experience like running around there and playing the Dark Zone, the Dark Zone feels very different. At 30, like everything is a threat. Every encounter seems much more enjoyable, and you have to plan it out a lot more. So I think that one of the things, and I suspected this because of just the way the Division feels, is that like games like you mentioned World of Warcraft, but like if you are an end game player, and that's my favorite thing about any video game. Oh, here I'm at the end now. Like let me help other people do things.
Sure.
So I found that going into the Dark Zone, and I still haven't had a chance to try the daily challenge missions, which I've heard are just like ball crushingly difficult.
Yeah, I saw Goth start one yesterday.
Yeah, so it's very it feels very different at the end of the game than it felt playing up to the end of the game. Like as soon as I went to the Dark Zone, I realized like, oh, my build is total garbage. I don't have the right loot. Like I need to change the way that I have everything structured right now so that I can participate against certain fights. And the other thing in the Dark Zone that I thought was interesting is that everything is still scaled to your player level. So the first two areas are level 30, but as you ascend the map towards like the north, the enemy levels go from 30 to 31 to 32 at the very top of the map, which means there's always going to be a set of enemies that have extremely high threat level to you. Which is something that Destiny did and really failed at. Like that was one of the big things, like on launch, like when they launched their like when they launched the Dark Below, and when they launched House of Wolves, they had this delta scaling where like you can be level 30, but the thing that's kicking your ass is always going to be level 32. And Bungie, in my opinion, in those two expansions, really implemented that system poorly. So you're always at a disadvantage, and there's nothing you can do to fight around it. But one of the things that I think the Division has going for it right now in Endgame is that the way you build your character and the loot and gear that you get really does change the way your class plays. And so right now things might seem a little convoluted, but I think that it has a lot of potential to diversify itself pretty strongly, especially with things like the incursions and all the roadmap things that they have.
Incursions are those raids? What are incursions?
I don't really know. Like
I've heard that thrown around. I just didn't know what the fuck that meant.
So like you can actually see the incursion marker on the map down on like the bottom right hand side, like south, whatever, east. Side, like it says so the first incursion, which is launching in a free update, it's called Falcon Lost. It has a recommended gear score, which gear score isn't listed anywhere in the game yet, of 150, and it has set item mission rewards, which means there's like going to be an incursion gear set, so it could be like raids.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
also
what
been
the fuck is a why?
I heard it was horde mode.
Yeah, there is one of the DLCs looks like it's going to be like horde mode or wave defense. And then I've also heard that it's like, oh, this could be a whole horde mode, or it could be like a rift in Diablo. So I'm not really sure. They haven't given a lot of specifics. They've just said that it's a high-end encounter that requires coordination and teamwork. So
I mean,
it's
what
not,
those are just like buzzword, buzzword.
It's like it's super fun with fun and also
We're
attacking
Ubisoft.
it.
Here's a popular track from the Pop 40.
Yeah,
Things
so
with guns.
yeah, you can shoot things with guns, but you're going to need more people because there's more things. And yeah, so it's
like,
not
what the fuck?
it's
That's
not
funny.
hyper specific, but I do see and obviously, like, I stuck with Destiny through year one when it was arguably a mess because I loved the game and I loved the potential of the game. And I think right now I see even more potential inside of the Division as far as like things they could do to sort of diversify and ways they could craft encounters to like force you, like, look, we need to have 2 DPS guys for this fight or we're dead, or we need to have 3 tanks and 1 DPS guy to take this guy down. So I think that it definitely has that going for it. We'll just have to see how it delivers once that shows up.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things that separated this from Destiny for me was that there's definitely support classes if you would like to go down
There's
that road.
healing. You can heal someone. Yeah,
exactly. And I like it's not
true.
It's not like everybody shoot the boss. It's like, no, we'll have some people shooting and we'll have this guy in the back, like, throwing Healy bombs at us or whatever the hell, and that kind of stuff. And that's why I liked the Division. It's why I liked Overwatch, because of, like, you could choose a different class of person, like a support class, which I was really excited about. And I didn't level up enough to like make it really count, but I'm looking forward to that when I play it again.
Yeah. I think that I mean, like I said, I think that right now, like, it is an investment game where maybe the investment doesn't seem really guided yet. And that was that's what you guys were saying.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was saying yesterday a lot on the stream, and Zeke heard this about 1 billion times. Like, one of the biggest issues I had with the game is that, like, you mentioned the fact that there's a gear score. And I look at the Division and I'm just like, there are so many fucking stats that I have no idea which is the one that I need to pay attention to.
Wait, in Division?
Yes.
There's 3.
No, there's not. There's DPS, there's damage, there's like they put so many different numbers in front of you, and I didn't know, like, the DPS one seems to be like the biggest one.
Oh, you mean the stats on the guns themselves?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant stats for characters. That's like one of my big problems.
No.
There's only 3.
I meant for like the specking out and like the grind itself, like the gear grind.
I think that one of the things they do very well is there is that distillation up at the top, so you can always look at, like, okay, like, how is this affecting me overall? But like, as soon as I hit level 30, all of a sudden there's all this shit showing up on my gear that I'm like, oh, this matters now.
Yeah, like all the talents and stuff, right?
Taking less damage from elite enemies or doing more damage to elite enemies, like taking less skill damage, increasing skill support. And then even stuff that's so highly specialized as like the gear mods that they have, which is like, this gear mod works for 1 skill and 1 skill only.
Right.
Like, increases turret defense and attack power. So I do think that there, like I said, there's a lot of specialization that you can go for and push for, but whether or not that makes you feel that much stronger is what's going to ultimately define whether or not the Division is going to hold people. I do agree, though. I think that they did take way too long to start introducing the importance of these stats.
Right.
Like, I had to put 24 hours into the game before I really started to see this, like, all these branches start to come off of the tree. And in my opinion, like, that's asking for a pretty heavy, like, for someone who plays games casually, 2 to 3 hours a day, you're asking for a really heavy investment before they get to bite into the meat of the game.
Dude, I got to admit, you just picked up a gun in this game that looked completely different from the loots that I've been getting. Like, even the high level gameplay looks a lot different from what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what. As soon as you hit it high level, it feels like the game just kind of turns into this other thing.
How much of the end game is using the crafting stuff? Because that's pretty much where you get all the high end weapons, right? I'm not saying high end. That's the name of it.
Crafting's kind of not been very involved in my experience so far.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because I don't have blueprints, but there's a shit ton of blueprints like you can buy, and I haven't bought any of those. So that's another part of the end game loop that really isn't apparent. And again, I think that this is a problem that Destiny had, and it might end up being a problem that the Division has as well, is that like the end game loops are not really well defined for people. But right now, the thing that you want to do to make crafting relevant is you need to go get your Phoenix credits, which is like the end game currency.
Yeah.
Go to the special vendor who's in the tech wing, and then buy the blueprints from the tech vendor. So like for 100 credits or less, you can buy pretty much any high-end blueprint that you want. And the high-end blueprints that they have listed are really tailored towards classes. Like they have a shooter blueprint and a tank blueprint and a skill-based blueprint.
And that's what they're called. It says like tank blueprint.
I'm going there right now, and I will tell you the words.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to see like if they were that easy to.
Yeah, it's not that easy to define, but like they're clearly using language to indicate like use this one for guns.
Right.
Use this one if you want to take a lot of damage. Like they're kind of winking at you.
Sure. That stuff needs to be there. Like
it needs to be. Yeah, it needs to be apparent for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was kind of what was frustrating me. Like, and I would be considered a hardcore player by every stretch of the imagination. Like a casual person, like you're saying, 2 to 3 hours a day, which is actually a lot.
Yeah.
For a casual player, like I would feel like they would get in the game pretty quickly and not even feel like they got like a huge upgrade, because it feels like you don't get that many like monumental upgrades until you get the fucking rifles in the early game.
Yeah.
And then once you get a rifle, it's like, oh, I can actually just one shot everyone. Like,
yeah. So
you never use another gun.
The gear is based off the core mechanics. So stamina gear, electronics gear, firearms gear. So like, electronics blueprint mask or liberator blueprint for a weapon or whatever. So like the blueprints are definitely tailored towards like, you'll use this blueprint to make stuff that has lots of stamina or lots of electronic skill. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you think that it's too easy? It doesn't take enough time to get max level?
I think that 24 hours is a pretty adequate amount of time to get people to end game. If you look at the entire start of the game as a tutorial to getting into the end game, 24 hours is a lot of time to teach you all the systems. But at the same time, I wish it was a shorter. I wish it was shorter. If the game blossoms so much at end game, making people take 24 hours to get there might be too much time.
It's pretty comparative to Destiny though at launch.
It is. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, there was a lot of that today. Like, well, we took Destiny and the thing, and you leveled, and the same game.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know. Destiny has a lot going for it. Had a lot going for it, like shooter wise. Like it's really twitchy and fun, and it's going to yank you in and keep you involved that way. And I think the Destiny shines in that area. Like the gameplay mechanics really make it shine. I think that in the Division, the tactical nature of it is what makes it shine, and the building out of your character is what makes it shine.
I noticed the tacticalness.
Don't get to experience that until the end of the game.
I saw like Goth was playing in a very like zone control situation where it wasn't just like, I'm going to spam my bullets into this guy until he dies. Like he was setting up turrets. He was like making his character sit at a certain area so he could cover like their entry point of all the mobs coming in. And you don't really see that type of stuff in Destiny at all.
Yeah, definitely not.
Especially with the turrets. Like I feel like those are a very interesting thing that will probably come into use a lot, especially in some of the higher end PvE content. Because they actually do a little bit of tanking as well, but who knows if they'll actually be viable. Cole, you were going to say something?
Would you say like...
Never mind, Zeke, go.
Would you say like WoW, like when I played WoW, I was like, okay, it's taking me a minute to get up to the max level, and then everything changed because like more, I would say like 80% of that game, even more so, I guess, would be after you're maxed.
Yeah.
Is that the same case here?
I think that's what
most
they're
of the game
going for.
is end game.
I think that's what they're going for. I really do. I think that it's going to be an end game oriented. It's obviously an end game oriented game because like the journey to end game kind of fell flat. But once you get there, it feels very different. Like it's definitely a much more PC investment style game than it is a console style game, like World of Warcraft or something like that.
Sure.
That's how it feels right now. You need to give me 2 more weeks to give you like a fair answer.
Right. This is all very first impression stuff.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Like I tried to put in as much time in because I'm an end game player and like this is an investment game. So to fairly answer the questions that I'm going to get, everyone always asks like, is it worth it? Is it $60?
That's the number one question that happens.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Like, well, I can't tell you that until I am at a place where, everything has been fully implemented. So, but I'd say I put 30 hours in and I enjoyed it very much. So at the cost of $2 an hour, yes, sure, it's worth it.
Gotcha.
See, I had a different take on that, and I had a different, the same kind of take that I had on Destiny. It's, well, when I first started playing Destiny, was what made this fun for me was people to play with. For me personally, I'd rather not solo this game. I'd rather have like a team of 4 friends,
definitely
hanging out and playing, and not like super concerned about leveling or that kind of stuff. We're just going through it and having fun, and that's why I had so much fun playing it for the first time, was because I had 3 awesome people to play with.
Yeah. I want to go back. You mentioned that the leveling portion of it felt a little bit stale. What about it specifically did you not like, or did you think was stale? Bro, am I putting words in your mouth, Broman? Is that not you?
No. Sorry.
Just the leveling process. Like, what did you think of it? Was it stale? Was it
Okay, so the leveling process kind of slowed down, I guess.
Okay.
I like totally flighty out of my face a little bit.
It's all right.
Sorry. Yeah, I totally spaced out. I think that one of the problems I have with the leveling process is that it felt very bursty. Like it wasn't a slow burn to level. Like you're like do. God, this takes forever, and then I can do this mission, and it's like boom, and here you're fucking you're on the next level now. And so it felt like it was really walled off, as opposed to like this holistic experience of like completing a bunch of little quests. And that might just be a personal preference of mine. Like I don't really know. Some people might love like, oh, I gotta wait, and then level 22, yes.
Sure.
But once I got into the dark zone, I felt like ranking up in the dark zone is way faster now than it was in the beta, and that slow burn return on investment seems to be much more prevalent in that side of the game.
Is there a level cap on Dark Zone?
I don't know. The vendors sell stuff up to rank 50.
Oh,
so it
I
could
was
be
like 100 something.
Yeah, I've heard 100. I've heard 99.
Or 125 a couple.
And can you lose Dark Zone rank or only gain?
Oh yes, if you go rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, if you go rogue and get killed, then you lose Dark Zone.
Okay, and what's the advantage to going rogue then? You get better stuff?
Stealing other people's shit.
Okay, you can steal everyone. So if I see if someone's in my group, right? Let's just make it as evil as possible. If someone's in my group and we're all on voice and he drops something, he's like, yo, I just got a high-end assault rifle. I'm sitting here in my head like I could drop out a group, murder his ass,
sure,
steal it, and then go extract it for myself. So like so there's that, and then if you survive your rogue countdown, you get a bunch of experience and money.
Okay. I also saw you just open up a dark
the chests.
Yeah, the chest. What I saw those keys are purchasable with Uplay points. How do you earn them in game?
You just shoot things and they just drop.
Okay.
Like I don't know, like 1 out of every 50.
So there's no like you can't buy keys to open chest.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really look at that side of things very much, and I guess I'm a bad person to come to for like I'm an informed consumer because like I'm just going to play the way that I want.
Yeah.
All the time, and I don't like paying for power, so even if it's an option
it wasn't paying. It was using the Uplay points.
Yeah, you can definitely use Uplay points to buy like 3 of them.
There's 3 keys for like 40 Uplay bucks.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if you can repetitively buy those.
I don't think you can buy Uplay points to begin with anyways. So
yeah.
They're only earnable from like getting achievements, I think. through the Uplay service, which I wonder how that works if you're playing the Division through Steam, because I guess it still launches Uplay. I don't know. That's a fucking weird thing to think about.
It's odd, man. It's odd.
When you're using Steam that launches Uplay to use Uplay points to buy things for your game that you bought on Steam.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a weird thing.
Peculiar, for sure.
Zeke or Cohen, any other comments, questions? I still don't know. Like, Zeke, did you said you liked the game, but only because you were playing with friends?
Yeah, no, that's how it starts out, though. That's like, I don't know if I would want to solo this game right off the bat, until I knew what was going on and I knew that it was fun and worth my investment of time.
Okay.
Well, like that's how I started playing Destiny.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like I picked it up
Makes
and I was
sense.
like,
It makes sense.
And then I got through the tutorial shit and I was like, okay, anybody else playing? Okay, let's go play. And then it was fucking awesome. And then I was like playing solo just so that I could play in a group. Because I wanted to get my shit leveled up and yada yada yada.
You can definitely effectively level in a group. Like if you got a group of people, you probably like it took me 24 hours. I played solo for half of it. So I think that if you played with a group all the way through the storyline, it would probably move a lot faster and maybe even be a lot more fun.
Right. I'm just like schedule wise, like some people I gotta go.
All right, we need 4 people and everyone's schedule has to match up for
That's always the worst part about getting into these games.
Question
is like, can you devote the amount of that's why I'm glad there's no like World of Warcrafts on that level, because it's like, yeah, I actually can't devote like 20 hours of time a day anymore. Because I can't stream WoW, because that's not what my channel was built for, so it's just going to be a waste of time and money. So I can't do that. But a game comes out like this where, yeah, maybe I can devote 20 hours to leveling off stream. That's a week or two of 3 to 4 hours a night, and maybe I'll hit level 30. Zeke, are you going to hit level 30? You're going to go the distance, Zeke?
Yeah, eventually, I'm sure. But I'm in no rush.
Okay. Co, you're not. Are you going to get to level 30 at all, or are you shelving it completely?
I may play again. I just the part that I shelved primarily was the 3-day kind of event that I was going to be doing with the Division. But I really don't know. My urge to play Division is not really there. I have to say, watching Broman play the high-end content, initially I was going back to the beginning, I was much more, I saw like the looter aspect of it a lot more, and saw the stats and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then Roman talked about how much builds and stuff mattered, and that's the stuff I was really interested in. But I got to be honest, I've been kind of sitting here watching the gameplay ever since then, and all I can think about is, yeah, all that stuff would be cool, and then I would just go back to having problems with the gameplay again. Like, I don't know, man.
It's legitimate.
The core gameplay shooting is you don't like? Is that what you're saying?
The core gameplay, just the cover and continue mechanic. Just
Gotcha.
find cover, kill everything you see, and then move on. Now, granted, it looks like in the Dark Zone you got to move around a lot more, which is definitely more my style. But then again, I think about that, and then I think about the size of the Dark Zone, and I go, okay, I like games like this when there's a game that doesn't have a beginning and end. I like to see myself playing it, let's say 100 hours. Right. So when I look at the PvE side, that goes back to the whole kill everything, move forward, kill everything, move forward, kill everything. I've established I don't like that. Now I look at the Dark Zone and I'm like, okay, this looks pretty cool. Could I play this for 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours? And then I look at the size of the Dark Zone and I go, probably not. Like it's not huge. So I don't know. I'm still so torn on it. I can tell you right now that I probably won't. I'm not going to be starting with it tomorrow like I planned. I may go back and play with friends. I'm honestly probably going to let people like Professor Broman play it for 2 weeks and then really listen to what they have to say about it.
That's kind of that's the approach I'm taking.
You and Gathalion right now, you guys are invested. You're seeing everything the game has to offer. I'm very curious to see where the game.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll give the most honest evaluation I can. Like if it's 2 weeks in and I'm like, I'd be like, don't touch it until they release something else.
Sure.
Like if it's like, look, don't touch it because unless this incursion thing launches and it's the shit, it's going to be a crap game. Like I will say that, but I think that like right now I think it has a lot of potential and I want to see what hatches out of it. And it's very possible that like I could get 20 more hours into it and be like, I'm done. it's definitely a possibility.
Zeke, what were we gonna say?
I'll say this about this game, and the only reason why I'm making this comparison is because I've been playing it a lot lately. But I think that this game could use some more character diversification. Like, personally, I would love like a fucking melee class or something like that. Something with like a shield and a goddamn bat or something, you know?
That is something I really want. Like those dudes run around with the fucking 9 irons, and I want that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, character diversification is what and the reason I'm making a comparison to Overwatch, because that's the reason why it's so fun to play over and over again, because there's so much diversification between the playable characters that you can find a niche that you like. If you don't like shooting or you're not good at it, there's no niche for people who like to go up and smash face.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
It absolutely blew me away that there weren't melee weapons. Not only because the enemies use them, but because in a post-apocalyptic world, when resources are scarce and supply lines are non-existent, you'd think the first thing they would do is come up with
grab
cool
a tire
ways to
iron,
kill the
Get a
people
bat.
that didn't take ammo. Right,
Yeah.
and the fact that just ammo is just like all over the place is so weird in this game. It
Your
completely,
Fallout bias is
completely goes
showing.
against the post-apocalyptic feeling the game is trying to get. Where it's like, oh, want some ammo? Cool. This box has all the ammo you'll ever need to form a small army for the rest of your living life. And just put text on it, and you're good. And it's like, really? It's like, I don't know. That really
I feel that's your.
I feel like it would be so hard to build a melee system though in a game like this.
It's killing me. No,
they got one. You just hit middle mouse button. Your character swings shit.
But is that a melee system or is that just a melee?
No, it's melee. You like that's.
Well, I know it's melee, but it's not like a system. It's just like I'm going to hit this person and that's it. Like
it does a little bit of damage, and I don't think there's any way to alter the damage. But that's like a very common and good way to kill people in Dark Zone. Back when I played Dark Zone Beta, like someone just goes down, you just run by them and just pop them.
Just hit them once and they're done. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. I'm just watching I haven't seen any level 30 PvP like this. So this is interesting for me to watch.
Oh, by the way, people were pointing this out, and I never figured this out. So it's not a post-apocalyptic game. It's only New York.
They're on the pinnacle of the apocalypse.
Okay.
It could be the apocalypse.
Okay.
But not yet. Like this is like a week after whatever. New York, fucking everything goes terrible. And it's, Black Friday, they release the virus, everything's screwed, everything, in New York descends into chaos. And so, other parts of the world are functioning all right still, maybe. And so, you still have some supply lines, but just inside of the quarantined area in the Dark Zone and inside of like New York, things are mega bad.
I gotta say that something about that kind of threw me off, though, is the fact that there's zero, like there's very little army presence. There's no like tanks. There's no like helicopter and armor. Like it. What is there anything?
He may not run into a helicopter later.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a little bit. That's true. But that was always
spoil anything. But
it gave a feeling of that post-apocalyptic.
I think that like whenever I'm playing an investment game and I have longings like that, where I'm like, so where the fuck's the tank at? I always think it's not here right now, but clearly I want it. And if I'm enjoying the game, I think that the developers of the game are intelligent enough to make something I'm enjoying. And I think they have to know that I want this. So maybe this is what's next. So like maybe the incursion drops and we have to fight, a giant PMC thing, and they got tanks and laser gun cannons and
that was kind of the cool thing.
Yeah.
In Destiny, when you first find that tank, it was really cool.
You're just a starry-eyed optimist.
I mean,
they're gonna have a tank and a helicopter.
They could.
In this.
Well, I think that is for me. Like I like looking at things that I could. It's always stuff that could be done better. But I make the assumption that the person who's designed the game and the company who has invested heavily in the game isn't a moron. And so because I know those feelings and I'm not designing this game, I do hope that they will deliver on things like that. But at the same time, there's always the possibility they're like, that's what you want, but I'm going to shove this down your throat. Because that happens with developers a lot of times too. They're like, I know that you don't want microtransactions in your game and you want more DLC instead of these tiny content events, but you're getting tiny content events, microtransactions, and no DLC for 6 months. Bungie. It is absolutely a situation where I feel like people can make big mistakes. But I'm always going to choose to hope for the best, because it's going to keep me invested in the game and it's going to keep me positive while I'm casting, as opposed to just sitting there and be like, everything's going to suck. Like, I don't like doing that. I want people to smile and laugh.
Very good call.
It's true.
Stay optimistic. Good vibes, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever, just a very small question, did you ever figure out, or excuse me, do you know if there's a way, because I would be way more interested in playing it, if there's a way to take, like, you know, your life bar and, you know, what your items are and shit like that, and lock it to like the bottom or the fucking corner, so it's not always
the
fucking
UI, you can, I think you can move the UI around, but I haven't messed with it that much. I don't know if it locks in a location, but I know you can move the UI on PC. I like that it's right there.
You're talking about this thing right here, the little thing next to your character.
It's fucking bouncing with you as you're running. Like,
but that's part of the UI element.
I love that whole augmented reality like feel of all of the user interface of the game. So that doesn't bug me. Every time I see it, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cool. Science. But I could definitely understand how having like your ammo count and your UI and everything like floating right next to you as opposed to off in a corner could be super bothersome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, it moves with you is the thing. It like, it has motion and like, it's just a minor annoyance that I'm like, I would love the option of just like putting it right in the center, down at the bottom, something like that, so I can always like, you know, it's always in the same spot.
Absolutely.
Just a small.
I think that you can do that. I think that you can, but I'm not 100%.
You can hide it. I don't want to fucking hide it.
You can turn it off. Just turn it all off. Yeah, I'm sure chat's saying that. Well, you don't like it. Why don't you just make it go away?
Yeah,
you can always just quit the game.
No, you could always just. Why don't you just stop complaining about everything and just never play the game again? Stop streaming.
What? Yeah, someone said like, it's a shooter game. If you don't like it, don't play it. What the fuck, man?
They got you there. I mean, that's solid logic.
God, you're right.
Fucking, you can't beat that logic.
So good, man.
Are you seeing a lot of people at 30 in the dark zone?
I have in the dark. Yesterday, it was me and one dude.
Wow,
that was it. I got it. I got to rank 30, and I was like, I told everyone in my chat who was watching. There's like 6,000 people. I'm like, all right, if any of you are level 30, join me. And it was like level 12, level 2, and I was like, yeah, nice trolling, good job. But one guy got it and he was 30, and that was fun. Today, it's definitely the dark zone's more populated, like at level 30. I kept, you know, there was, when I was in there earlier, it was like my team, which eventually built up to be 4 people, and then 2 other teams that kept trying to kill us, but they were bad. So there was like 10 people.
Gotcha.
I think that by the weekend, it's going to be full of all sorts of things.
I would imagine so, yeah.
How was your experience with Dark Zone at 30 with like people trying to kill you and getting loot? Like, was it really fun, really tense, or
okay, so here you go. The thing about Dark Zone level 30 is I went in there solo and I got creamed. Like, if you're in there solo, and I think I actually don't mind this, if you're in there solo, every single group of enemies is a massive threat. And I think that it's really, really great. Like, that's the tactical nature of your build and everything. You think about, how am I going to fight these 6 guys without dying? And so I thought that was really cool.
Can you expand on that a little bit? When you say they were a threat, do you mean they just had a shit ton of armor and health and hit really hard, or like what?
Even when it was just me, and it felt a lot like Dark Souls. Like, you know how in Dark Souls, it doesn't matter. You get a fucking sick build, and then all of a sudden, you killed everything else in the room, but that one motherfucker you missed in the back comes up, and he's like, surprise, bitch, and rips your head off. It felt a lot like that. So you'd run into an encounter of 8 enemies, you'd clear everyone. I even had one awful experience where I cleared everything, including the boss guy, the hardest guy, and then I had missed one of the rushers. He came up behind me with a shotgun and, like, laid me out, and I lost all my stuff. So playing solo, every enemy is a threat. Like, yeah, they have a lot of health and things like that, but that's as you get better weapons, like, enemies' armor and health doesn't seem to be prohibitive. Like, they feel less like a bullet sponge and more like okay, I have to wait for my window to take out half of his armor. So it felt more tactical with the better weapons I had. I was worried that if I got better weapons, I would just mow through everything. But yeah, so you still have a higher threat level on everything in the Dark Zone at 30. Every enemy that spawns naturally is a yellow enemy, so that's rough.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
But then at playing as a group, things, even with one other person, things got significantly easier. And playing with a group of 4, encounters really kind of felt like you could just sort of circle the map and do gear loops, as opposed to just kind of like hiding and trying to kill whatever came your way. As far as like people going rogue, we had a couple people try and kill us, but they were really, I mean, like, I'm not trying to insult them, but they sucked. They were really bad at the game. Like, they're like, I'm going to wait and like obviously look like I'm going to try and kill you, and then like throw one grenade while we're all aiming our guns at them. So like clearly they didn't think it through.
Sure.
I thought it was a good idea.
It was going to be great. You were all going to die because I'm level 17 and shouldn't even be in here.
Wait,
Yeah,
17s can be with 30s, or was that an exaggeration?
No. There was a level 17 in my Dark Zone, and I don't know
in the
how they
same
got
area.
it.
That
Yeah, in the same.
I thought it was
he was partnered with the 30. Yeah, I mean that happened to me.
Oh, he was partnered.
I had a guy get in at level 6. Well, technically, they're not supposed to be able to get in there regardless.
Could you power level?
I think it
in
could
that
be
sense?
glitchy. You could power rank someone in the Dark Zone.
Oh, because you don't get normal XP in the Dark Zone.
Yeah,
you only
don't.
get Dark Zone
get
XP.
rank. Another thing that I noticed, but as far as power leveling is concerned, is when there's an experience level mismatch on your characters, the game does try and force you to level out. So I don't know if you start a new agent at level 1 and you have a level 30 guy. Pull you into a group and run around and kill things that are way higher. You might be able to power level.
We had someone. I think we were 8 when Anne joined us yesterday, Zeke, and she was 3, and within, I want to say, an hour, she was our level.
Yeah, so it pushes pretty hard then.
Yeah. And so I don't know what happens if you group with a level 4 right out of Brooklyn, the tutorial, and a level 30, if they level quicker.
Sir, $300.
Yeah.
Carry you.
Yeah.
Gonna put it on eBay right now.
Yeah, so I don't know what would
That's
happen
interesting. Well, yeah, and then people were asking me about auction house stuff as well. I don't feel like the game has enough depth to encourage an auction house right now.
But you can trade with other people, right?
But you can't. Trading is coming in the first update.
Oh, it's not there yet. Okay.
It's not there yet. So trading in the first update, I think it's incursions and trading. Maybe. I could be totally off base.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the first update's when they're introducing trading, and it's in instance trading. So it's only with the people that are on your team and only while they are on your team. So like
Weird.
I would assume like, yeah, so it's like locked to your group. So you finish a thing and then you have like, I would assume a window wherein which you can be like, no, I got this. Oh, I got gloves. Cool. Swippity swap.
I wonder if you're going to see like a third-party site pop up where it's like selling blah, 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 enter friend code.
Of course there's going to be that.
And then like you add that code and then they join your instance and then you trade the stuff. Yeah.
It happens in every game. You know, I mean, people do that in Destiny with, you know, not so much raids, but when it like end game PvP, Trials of Osiris, people will sell like, oh yeah, doing this, or they'll make it, you know, well, subs will do sub day, and so that sort of stuff. I think that regardless of what sort of MMO you're playing, people are always going to find a way to monetize it. And while I might not personally agree with that, I mean, it's, you know,
well, they're going to try to find a way to min max it. Is really I think the better way of saying that is they're going to try what's the fastest way I can get this?
Yeah.
What?
At least resistance.
Yeah. Someone in chat is saying that Summit power leveled Tim the Tapman, who was level 8 to 16 in under an hour or so.
Oh, holy crap.
And I think 8 to 16 took about probably 5 to 6 hours normally if you were soloing, roughly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so if there's power leveling, that's kind of interesting. Maybe
that is interesting.
Zeke, you should level to 30 there, buddy, and then
play some on up there with the level 30s and stuff.
Yeah,
that makes it that makes it less intimidating if I set a character on.
Who needs the headache? I don't need no 30. I'm fine at level 10 or whatever the fuck I am. It's okay. Don't worry about me. I'll just be in the corner crying.
That's true. Broman, yesterday you said on Twitter that it would take about 50 to 60 hours to finish everything in terms of like decking out.
So yeah, my primary concern, and now that I've sort of gotten into the Dark Zone a little bit, I'm sort of seeing it. I've spent I spent 4 hours today in the Dark Zone, and I managed to drop 2 pieces of high-end gear. So like at that rate, once I hit, because and then you also get Phoenix credits for killing things in there, so you can buy end game stuff as well.
Yeah,
I think it's very possible. You might not be spec'd perfectly, but if you're looking to have a character that's geared out with all high end stuff, so all 9 slots, not best in slot, but all 9 slots high end gear, I think that seems to be doable inside of 50 to 60 hours. And this is where I think that the game has a lot kind of going for it, in that like, okay, so now I have all high end gear, but which direction does this gear trend? So for me, I would want to get a set of high-end gear that was for DPS, a set of high-end gear that was for health, and a set of high-end gear that was for skill.
right.
So that's 3 full gear sets, and then mods for my particular skills. So I think that I think it would probably be possible to gear out with all high-end gear within 50 to 60 hours for sure. But and then again, it comes back to the carrot on the stick. Is the end game going to be good enough for me to care to be able to fill each of those roles?
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say, like, now technically, if you went a full gear set down each of those lines, you would then have everything.
Yeah, exactly. I
You'd be
don't
able to do every role. That's the equivalent of like getting every single gear set for every role for like.
Yeah,
a WoW
exactly.
period.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's, like they have the mod system to make it more specialized. So like I was saying earlier with the mod system, like, okay, so I have all my gear set for my electronics, whatever. So now my turret does like 5,000 damage a bullet. But I want my turret to do 6,000, so I need to go get turret mods or whatever. Like, so there is, like, you can see really narrowly pointed skill trees in there inside of that, but whether or not that's going to result in a desire to seek that out, I don't know yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing too, you and Goth leveled on Xbox because it was pretty. The easiest way to get in on Monday was to have a physical copy
Let's
of
have
the
a
game.
physical copy on Xbox. Yeah.
I don't know if we should talk about that, but Ubisoft, don't fucking be so bad at getting the game out to people.
I was listen, man. People were fucking pissed on Monday, and I understand.
It was pretty fucking bad, especially in certain situations like mine.
It was confusing as shit, man. Like, so Corey and I, Goth and I had been talking with Ubisoft, working with them, talking about like, hey,
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Servers go live at this time, and it'd be really cool if we could start playing. We've been working with you guys, we've been streaming with you guys. It'd be really nice if we could get early access and stream it. And they're like, we can't do that for you.
Right.
So
but they didn't do that for anyone, right? Like,
yeah, they didn't do it for
game
anyone.
servers went live on Monday. So
Yeah, they just went live on Monday.
reviewers,
and so,
no one had early access.
No. Yeah. And the thing is, like, we got approval from them to stream, but then apparently halfway through the day, they just tweeted, look, if you got it, go ahead. And so they gave everyone de facto, early access to stream the game. I personally, the launch was an absolute nightmare, and I think it was handled terribly.
I would agree, man. So my situation was actually, it's one of the situations where I look at it and I'm like, how does this happen? So they reached out to me and said, hey, would you like a copy of the game? You'll get it Monday. We're shipping it to you. And I said, sure. What platform do you want to play on? And I said, PC. And they said, okay, we'll send you a physical copy. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm playing the PC version. Send me a code. I'll use that code and I'll download the game. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Of like, no, we'll send you a physical copy. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It'll be here.
Whatever you need to do.
Whatever you need to do, right? And I know Bunny, in the same situation, asked for the Xbox One version because the Xbox version has 30 days of the DLC before anyone else or something like that.
Yeah, it's got like early access to certain things. I am still confused personally as to what it is.
Yeah, it gets something before every other platform. So he asked for the Xbox One version, and at that time, they weren't being, kind of like in your situation, they weren't saying, one, when the game would go live, two, if I would be able to play the physical copy of the game on the PC, because I knew that at the time that the Xbox One and PS4 versions were going to be able to play it, because the servers went live that Monday morning at 8 a.m. or whatever Eastern. So I'm sitting here on Monday waiting all day for a physical copy of the PC, and then at 6:30 at night, after I've waited all day for this copy of the game, they send me a code and say, here's a code, the servers will unlock tonight at midnight Eastern. And I'm just like,
wow.
Like what? How does that happen? And I wasn't the only person in that situation. There was other streamers who were waiting for this code or for this copy of the PC version.
Totally.
And like it's totally a first world problem, but it's like that's got to be better. Like we're helping you guys promote your game
Exactly.
early. Work with us.
More importantly, it's like there's so much misinformation and so little accurate information with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That it just got ridiculous. Like
me and you were going back and forth all day.
Dude, yeah, me and JP were talking all day about this, and we both had our different contacts working at different things. Like at one point, I had, and I kid you not, I had a woman helping me. She was doing her absolute best. She could not figure out what her company was doing for the early access. She ended up getting me 5 game codes that she didn't even know would work. She's doing all this while she's at her house because she just had a kid and she's on pregnancy leave, and she's trying to help me get this done.
Oh my gosh.
He connects me, like she was like an all-star, and she did her absolute best, and she like even she didn't know what was going on. Like no one knew what was going on. No one knew the process. Like it was just kind of, it's just like, guys, this is when indie devs are absolutely nailing this stuff out of the park.
And that's what I was.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
when
there's
Stardew
no
Valley,
reason companies this big should not know exactly what they're doing, exactly how it works.
100%, dude.
Guy to talk to, a PR dude working with Twitch, an Andy, like we've talked about in time, like having an Andy where, hey, have a problem and you stream on this game on Twitch, this is your dude to go to.
Yep.
Like it's just
Punch
it's
Club,
baffling. It's like they're 10
Darkest
steps
Dungeon.
behind.
dude.
Yeah,
Like all those guys.
The amount of times that I've been like, hey, like perfect example. Last week, I'm tweeting about Stardew Valley. I'm like, should I check the Stardew Valley game out? This is before like it really blew up on Twitch. Should I check this out? Like, I think it looks cool. Within 5 minutes, I get a DM from someone on the fucking publisher, and saying, hey, would you like a key for the game to test it out on stream? And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like, I'll totally look at the game, and that's that. Like, I understand that that's a indie company compared to a fucking Ubisoft, which is the third largest publisher in the world for video games. But like, fuck, man, that's a team of like 10 people.
I think that when you're looking at companies and when you're looking at the way they develop things, companies are really big entities. That's why they make really big games, but they also make them really slow. Yeah. But at this point, and even before Twitch, YouTube has been around for a very long time. And the fact that it has taken this long for almost all publishers to realize that the folks who make content, or like, you know, whatever fourth party content, like I play your game and then I put it on my YouTube channel,
right,
are part of their hype machine is ridiculous. Like, one of the things I felt like Bungie has done really well, and the Division has done this well too, despite the flubbed launch, is that they both have guys dedicated to their game to reach out and talk to content creators. Like Hamish, who's been on the dev stream a lot. He's been talking with me. I've had contacts with him for like 6 months. And then I've talked about this guy on my podcast before. But Adam at Activision is their specific liaison for anything Destiny related. If you're a YouTube content creator, if you're a Twitch streamer, whatever you do, it's someone for you to reach out to. So I think companies are moving in the right direction. But the fact that you can have a launch go that badly and have nobody on your entire team know what's going on it's horrible.
Yeah. I want to address a statement in the chat. It's very volatile, but I still want to address it. Okay. It says, I'm so tired of streamers always overruling the paying customer, yet the streamers whine when they don't get a key right away.
I just responded to that in chat.
The thing is that
that's a good
streamers are actually a part of like the gaming sphere, right? Like, we're not paying customers, which is a good and bad thing. Like, we've been roped into this developmental cycle. We're part of the game industry as like another facet. Digital influencers is the stupid buzzword that we are now, but like, we're not the same as a normal customer. We're the people that have the ability to reach out to people that the company might not be able to, because our communities and our viewers trust us to give a unbiased opinion on a particular game, and we can sell units because of that. It's why when you see Broman, Gathalion, Lyric yesterday doing the Division stream, there was a link in their info section saying, purchase the Division here. Check out the link. You guys, as normal people, don't have that because you don't have that reach. Like, that's something that I think is starting to become the norm, and people are understanding that, but a lot of people, like that person, are not. I think it's something very important.
Another thing. And we're not people make the mistake of thinking we're complaining about getting something for free. That's not even the fucking point.
No, that's not the point.
We would buy the game 100%. We already do most of the time.
The fucking point is that we're like, the shit was told and it was not true. You know, like there was incompetence, there was ball dropping, there was all kinds of stuff that happened. That's the main thing. It's like,
and here's
we're not
the thing.
complaining about like my free games, like my free game, it wasn't free enough. It's not even close.
Okay,
but hold on, but
things that were said.
Someone just made the
them
point
not
that if
being
someone
true.
gives us a free game, we're beholden to like we should put in our title if we get a game for free. Like, dude,
No, not at all.
The last thing I care about is if I get a game for free.
Yeah.
I mean, what if someone gives me the game from my community? It doesn't mean I'm going to speak nicely about. Like,
if you're worried about bias,
if we don't like a game, even if it's a sponsored stream and they're paying us to stream it, let alone give us the free game, we're still going to be honest about it.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, that just
it's
sounds like a new person
zero
to show.
do with it. Zero.
I've been hypercritical of Stardew Valley, and I got given a free key for that. But I think that game is one of the most boring games I've ever played.
I've probably been more negative about the games I've been given for free than it's of no bearing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
And I think the other thing too that is a very valid point in this situation is that this type of stuff has been happening in the normal game press for 25 years, right?
Yeah.
But they can't be as outspoken as we can because they need that early access for their reviews, because no one's like, that's a dying thing. There's a reason why like game journalism has transferred over to being more opinion based and more what's the word? More of kind of like what we are, more character based. Like Giant Bomb's a perfect example of that. You know everyone if you visit Giant Bomb on that site because they are personality based, right? Like they've kind of gone from the general PR sense or the general review sense into kind of what streamers and YouTubers are now. And I think that's why it's such a changing thing that you're starting to see that more and more, and they can be outspoken just like we can. So we can honestly put people in check, and that's kind of the point of this whole thing, is because like it shouldn't happen. It was just a failure of communication at a company that's massive and has 3 offices across the world.
Okay, now for a little bit of let's be fair and realistic here. I will say that it's also, and I think Bro touched on this a little bit. It also has to do with the size of the company and their agility. And you know, this also ties back to a lot of larger companies, especially ones from like other countries that maybe don't even watch Twitch. Nintendo is a good example. Nintendo barely interfaces with Twitch. They have like 2 or 3 streamers they work with. It's a giant company.
Right.
It may not be so much about the company not caring about Twitch, maybe just the big moving components of that company so focused on what they're doing that they're not agile enough to care about this. I mean, right now we have 10,800 people watching us on this show. To them, that may not even qualify as, you know, a potential market. So why would they spend any resources, you know, throwing stuff at it? Now, for an indie dev, that could make or break their game.
Absolutely.
If 10,000 people were to be turned onto their game. But for a company like Ubisoft, they may look at this and just be like,
I don't care.
Whatever. We're going to spend another $1 million on magazine advertising, you know, and be happy to get 3 times the saturation. So to us, it's not that we're sitting here going, you know, man, these companies suck because they don't deal with us. It's just, this is our medium. So of course we want to see it grow. We want to see companies interface with us. And more importantly, we treat it like professionals, and we want to, or most of us do, a lot of us do, and we want to see the big companies kind of in that regard. Yeah, I know, right? But it's you know, in a lot of ways, the industry
very true.
Catch up to new media. So, and we, you know, when a company is as big as Ubisoft, we want to see them be agile enough to be like, okay, this is a new medium. This clearly has, even if it's not a huge amount, there's clearly influence here. Let's treat them with professionalism, just like we would other PR initiatives that we're doing.
Right.
That's
absolutely.
That's all. That's I mean, that's at the end of the day. That's all I gotta say.
One of the
and we all realize that dealing with a bigger company is tough, because I mean, walk into an office building and be like, I'm here to see Jack, and they're like, I don't know who Jack is.
Yeah. And that's what it's like when we email these guys.
I'm gonna go get Bob. I think Bob knows Jack. And then Bob comes out, you mean Jack Swanson? No, I don't know the other Jack you're talking about. Let me go get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's, you know, we understand that, but like, you know, anyway.
It's starting to make sense, hopefully. I forgot what I was gonna say. I think we've talked that point to death.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways, there was a lot of confusion on Monday, but then Tuesday
Yeah.
came out and it was all.
And
it was fine.
now everyone's fine.
Now everything's fine. Yeah, as it should be. I guess the last question I have for this. What time is it? Where are we at? Hold on. Yeah, last question because we got about 10 minutes till break. You're full-time, quote-unquote, full-time Destiny streamer, you and Goth.
Okay.
I've seen both of you been pretty vocal about, like, yeah, of course we're going to stream both. Like, how is your community responding to that? Or the community of the Warblers? Or really, honestly, I could go as far as to say the Destiny community on Twitch, because that's what you guys are.
I would say for me, the sense that I have gotten is that other than the really combative nature of people when it comes to like this is the new game, which you all mentioned encountering. So there's like some people from the Destiny community, they're like, this game fucking sucks. I hate it. It's garbage. And yeah, I mean, you're always going to have those people. 5%
I
of
just like to
people.
say I absolutely love that voice. That's
It's a pretty good voice.
That's
yeah.
what when someone's being a dickhead to me in chat.
See, all of our nerd voices are kind of like whiny, high pitched. You do a deep, good like.
I want to see JP's asshole nerd versus your asshole nerd in like a conversation.
Yeah,
because it'd be like, oh, fuck you, and JP's like, well, yeah, me.
well,
It's like Cartman before puberty and Cartman after puberty. That's actually what it is.
absolutely what it is. That's absolutely what
That's
it is.
100%. We figured it out.
I did not mean to derail that.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry,
okay.
bro.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, fuck you guys. So I mean, there's always going to be those people, but I think the vast majority of it is like people who like Destiny. They like, the segment of them that like looter shooters are going to really like this game. And the segment of them that like investment games are really going to like this game. And that's what I've seen. The folks that really like FPSs and twitchy shooters, and I've been saying it for a month when I've been saying I play Division, if you like watching me play Destiny, because I can hop into a PvP match and bury a guy's head in with a bullet, you're not going to fucking like this game. You won't like it. Please don't come shit up my chat. I know you're not going to like it. I'm telling you, you're not going to like it. So just stay away. And they don't. But
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Why do they have so much health? Well, it's an MMO.
Fix it. Why won't you fix it? Play something else.
This game would be better button Destiny.
This game, yeah. So yeah, like I think that in general, like the Destiny community is still gonna love Destiny. But my goal, and this goes way back to when Destiny launched, because Division, if you guys remember, was supposed to launch forever ago.
Right, it got delayed, yeah.
And it got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And my plan since the beginning, like I came from Borderlands, speedrunning and primarily Borderlands, and I went to the Destiny, and like I like looter shooters. And my plan originally was to stream both of these games because they were going to launch around the same time. It was going to be fun. I've always enjoyed having 2 or 3 games that juggle and like fit my personality. So I mean, I don't presume to speak for the whole Destiny community on Twitch, but I think that in a time where there is not a lot to do in the game that you love, it's always great to have an alternative. And I have had a lot of people come into my channel and say like, bro, man, I'm so happy I can stand watching you now. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, man, that's such a fuck you compliment, man.
No, it is. Well, I can stand watching you now. I'm like, why? I've always been this person like, yeah, but I literally can't watch Destiny. I can't fucking look at it.
Yeah.
Because I'm so mad at X, or I'm mad at Y, or I'm mad at Z. And those are like, that is the nature of being a community-oriented streamer, is you are beholden to people's reaction to the company that makes the game sometimes. And Destiny has gone through a very long period of, and I mean, we talked about earlier, but where they were just kind of like, you know what, I know what you want, but
it's
they
like
kinda,
after you like have long hair and you cut it off, and they're like, you look so good now.
Yeah.
You look so good now.
Yeah, it's like the biggest backhanded.
Fuck you.
I look the same. Yeah, so I think that for me and for the people that enjoy watching me and watching Corey and a lot of the folks in the Destiny directory, some of them are going to try and play both games, and I think it fits. At least for me, it fits. Destiny is a shooter, an RPG shooter that puts the shooter part first. And from my experience, my suspicion, and then now from experiencing it, The Division is a shooter RPG that puts the RPG element way ahead of anything else when it comes to shooters. That's why you get all the bullet hose, sponge complaints and things like that.
Yeah.
Everything in the game has so much health because they want you to think and use all of the RPG elements that they've put in the game in order to defeat the encounters and things like that. So, it's a really long answer. I'm sorry.
No.
I think that
yeah.
That means we don't have to talk. That's fine.
Yeah. I think that if you're a person who likes RPGs and you're a person who likes looter shooters and you like Destiny, I think that this game is a good match for you. I think it's something that you would enjoy. That's kind of what I've been saying the past 2 days. But if you're the kind of person that likes to hop into a PvP match, or the kind of person that likes to just jump in and feel super powerful, like Destiny is definitely a very like power fantasy game, right? Like you're a super ultra badass and you run around and you can fucking smash everyone with the power of your fucking awesomeness, right? Like that is what Destiny feels like. The Division definitely doesn't feel like that. Like there's no power fantasy to the Division. You're an agent in a world where you're moving slow and you have enemies that are just as strong as you and things like that. So,
I gotta say, man, it drives me crazy that it's like an entire side of Division is missing. And that is the drop-in PvP, the CTF hold the line, leaderboards. That's something that is really bothering me.
I can say that not having structured PvP, it does seem like it's a miss. I would agree with that.
That would be so hard to do though, because it's such an RPG.
That's the other thing. But Battlegrounds. I mean,
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be great. I think that it would have held my interest longer, knowing that kind of stuff was there, knowing that I could build up my character to like a meaningful PvP experience instead of just like running around a little sandbox to get loot with absolutely no leaderboards, no persistent stat tracking, nothing else. Like, I don't know, man. I felt like Division was trying to do a lot of the stuff that Destiny was, and then just kind of ignored a lot of the stuff that could have been really good.
They did really, really well. I totally agree with that. I'm
one of those weird people that really liked Defiance, and I loved the PvP in that game.
Yeah,
I loved it.
What was Defiance's like stat system like? Was it similar to Division?
It was leaderboard-esque, and there were like big global boards and stuff.
No, I mean like on the character progression side. Is it stat based?
Oh, Defiance was very stat heavy. Okay. Yeah, it was an MMO. Defiance was a true MMO.
Gotcha.
Where,
and they did like CTF
Division
and stuff?
is not an MMO. Destiny is not an MMO. These by no means fit any MMO guideline that ever was established. Period. where like, I'm sorry if.
No, you're not like,
you're not wrong.
You're using really strict definitions, and you're correct. I'm not going to argue with you.
Yes, I'm a strict. I'm an old school EQ1 MMOer. So I have like those concrete. Lots of people disagree with my definition of MMO, but I'll take it.
I won't. I mean,
so yeah. So it was. I don't know. I really feel like it was just a whole missing part of it that really could have been fun. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's too bad because I like when I watched Gothalion and you, Bro, when you guys are doing PvP, like what is that event you guys do with the melee PvP stuff?
Oh, Melee Nade.
Dude, I love that. That is so like that. It's just a bunch of guys having fun playing PvP. that is, and the fact that all that stuff is kind of missing. Like none of that you can't even do that.
There's not opportunities for that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that. I mean, my hope is that going forward, they see the desire for that and they try and make it work.
Yeah.
Optimism. Fucking gross, disgusting optimism.
Last thing, you're playing the Xbox One version. You've played the PC version.
Yeah.
Xbox One version runs fine. Any issues with it?
Xbox One version runs really well. One of the things that I have encountered, and I used a controller on both of them, so before you crucify me.
Yay, me too!
So does Zeke. We had to play with that.
I use a controller for both of them. I do find aiming and hit detection to be better on PC.
Okay.
And I think that's because there is very little aim assist built into the game. And when you're running a game at 30 frames per second, you need a little bit because otherwise you're shooting at locations in the game that technically don't have an enemy in it yet, but there's no way for you to know that. So because there's very little aim assist, it does kind of feel like where are half of my bullets going sometime on Xbox. But then, I mean, that's pretty much my only complaint comparing the two.
Okay. There you go. All right. Well, I think that does it for the division talk. We're going to take a quick break, come back, talk about the news, talk about what else we've been playing, and then probably wrap up the show. So don't go anywhere. Still got about another hour and a half left here of Drop Frames. We'll see you guys after the break. We'll be right back.